In coronavirus hotspots brace for difficult weeks ahead. Governors across the country are working together to ensure frontline medical workers get the critical protective gear. Maryland's Governor Larry Hogan is the chairman of the National Governors Association, and he joins us now from Annapolis. Governor Hogan, welcome back to the NewsHour. Your state of Maryland, we believe, has now passed 4,300 cases, surpassed 100 deaths. In any way, do you feel you're getting your arms around this?
Well, it's very hard to ever feel like you're getting your arms around it. I mean, I feel like we're as prepared as we possibly could be. You know, I was one of the first in the country to declare a state of emergency, and we've taken unprecedented actions every single day for the past 33 days. But like everyone, we're trying to play catch up and try to stay one step ahead of it. But it's a very difficult crisis for anybody to say that, you know, you've got our arms wrapped around it.
What do you most need right now? As you know, so much conversation about governors having a hard time getting the equipment, getting the supplies they need. What is the most critical to you now?
Well, it's the same for every governor, I think, Judy. It's the same thing that you keep hearing about, and it's the most difficult thing, I would say, right now is ventilators, and we were successful in getting a couple of hundred ventilators from the administration, a commitment of 200 more ventilators. That's what New York is being faced with right now. It's just, but it's PPE, it's all the protective equipment that we need for our hospitals and our healthcare workers. It's testing and testing kits, and that's just something that all of us are dealing with. We're searching for these things all over the domestic market, all over the world, and we're asking our federal partners for their help as well. But no governor's sitting by just waiting for these things to arrive. Everybody's working very hard to try to ramp up these availabilities.
Well, as you know, governors are speaking out and saying they're having to not only compete against each other, they're competing with the federal government, with FEMA, they're competing with other countries. Is that just the way it's going to be for the duration of this pandemic, or is there a fix in sight?
I think it's improving, Judy, to tell you the truth. I mean, look, it's not a perfect situation, but it's getting better rather than worse, I would say. We're having ongoing discussions, all the governors with the administration. There are new laboratories that are ramping up with new tests and more availability of tests. We're certainly playing catch up. It's not where we need to be, but I think we're better off today than we were last week, and we're catching up. But it's certainly not where anyone needs to be today. But it's a lot better than it was, and we've got more testing going on in our state, and I think in most states, than we did last week.
Just moments ago at the briefing at the White House, President Trump told reporters, he said, among other things, he said, if your governor is failing to get you what you need, he said, I'll protect you. I mean, is that the way it now works?
Well, look, I think what we really need right now, the real enemy here is the virus. That's the common enemy we're all fighting, and it's going to take the federal, state, and local governments all working together to try to fight this common enemy. And we don't need finger pointing from anywhere. I don't think there are any governors failing anywhere in America. I can tell you, as somebody who's been leading discussions with the governors on an ongoing basis, and many of them with the president and vice president, and many of them with just the governors, I'm really proud of the job that they're doing, and I don't think we need finger pointing about any governors failing. I think every governor's doing the best job they can, and I think the federal government's doing their best job to help us. But we ought to just do a lot more figuring out how to fix these problems rather than finger pointing from any direction.
Governor, you announced today the first in the nation, I believe they're so-called strike teams, to go into nursing homes in Maryland. Tell us how that works.
Well, so this is a problem across the country. Remember the first crisis happened in the state of Washington with this nursing home that we all were shocked to hear about. And now we've got 90 nursing homes here in our state where we have at least one case, but it's several of them with really dramatic outbreaks. A number of other states do. We are sending in strike teams with members of the National Guard, with doctors and nurses from our local health departments and from local and regional hospitals to go in on an emergency basis to try to wrap our arms around this and to identify the situation, to triage the situation and send people when they need to hospitals, or to take care of the situation right there with both testing to find out exactly where that facility is and what help they need, because This is our most vulnerable population. We're having these outbreaks across the country. So we took actions about a month ago to limit visitors and to make sure we're checking staff members. But still, we've got these outbreaks, and we've got to make sure we stop them before they become widespread. And the strike teams are just one new tool that we're unleashing today.
And just quickly, finally, I read that you also announced that the state is going to start reporting or launching what they call a coronavirus rumor control page on your website. Is that because of so much bad information being out there?
I think there's just a lot of people that are just relying on a lot of random rumors that they pick up on social media, and it just runs rampant. So we're just going to try to, I think facts are really important, and that's why we've tried to be as transparent as possible, have the doctors and the experts talking. And so we want to separate fact from fiction. I think at a time like this, it's particularly important that people are hearing from the scientists and the doctors and not running rampant with things that just aren't true.
Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland, thank you very much. And again, we wish you the very best in dealing with all this.
Thank you, Judy.